Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Wilbourn Nicholas from WhatCulture.
And WWE TLC has just finished. We are here to tell you what went down. We're also here to tell you we're very proud that the streak has continued.
Hey!
No, not John Cena appearing at WWE pay-per-views. That is done in 2019. Well, not appearing, wrestling we should say, because he of course appeared at WrestleMania. But the infamous streak of Mike and Adam Nicholas's crap WWE pay-per-views. And this one started so well, which is the issue.
Don't they all?
And
They all?
Towards the end, just fell off a cliff.
You know, we try hard, don't we? We get so close to having a good pay-per-view, and then it all goes into the toilet.
Yes, right. Well, we'll start at the beginning. We'll get to that trash fire at the end in due course. We'll start on the pre-show very quickly. It was Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo. Humberto Carrillo yet again defeating Andrade with a chef's kiss, picture perfect moonsault at the end, and then seemingly more suggestions that Zelina Vega and Andrade could be separated.
More suggestions of a bit of disharmony amongst the two, which I'm not a fan of, I'll be honest, because I don't want to see the end of those two. But yes, there's been more tease, to say the least, that those two could be on the verge of separation. Andrade, who had a nasty cut on his head throughout the match, and also a horrible sort of welt starting to come up on the side from where he'd been hit. I don't even know what he got hit with, but it was nasty looking. Maybe it was the side of the commentator's desk when he got pushed into it. Either way, he walked off very unhappy. Zelina Vega begging for him to come back. He pied her off. And Humberto Carrillo gets a big victory over Andrade, clean as a whistle.
Yeah, second one in a week. Right, let's move on to the main card. We opened with the Smackdown Tag Team Championship match with the New Day taking on the Revival. This was a lot of fun to start the show.
This was good. I mean, if you're going to start the show, you want to give it to two reliable tag teams, a ladder, and some tag belts to make it good fun. It felt clunky in a few parts for me, but ultimately, like, they're the guys you want to be opening the show, right?
Yeah, I mean, even the bits that were like a bit off looked horrific. Big E was meant to go through a ladder at one point and just sort of caught it on his sort of back and shoulder, wasn't it? It didn't look good. And then they just put him back on the ladder, and I think
It was
Dash Wilder, just frog splashed him right through it. Strangely sort of brown centre to that steel ladder.
Yeah, it's odd that. Almost like it was slightly different, perhaps. Splintering ladders, we've seen them before, haven't we?
But anyway, the main point being the New Day retain their SmackDown Tag Team Championships. We had a big ending from Big E off a ladder towards the end, which looks really rough. And then Kofi twattered, was it Dash, I think? Or Scott Dawson. Scott Dawson with the belts, and then hooked them for the Revival, of course, to retain their Tag Team Championships. We follow this up with quite possibly match of the night. Yeah.
I think match of the night for me, yes, definitely.
And it's great to be saying that, because we were slightly concerned that it wasn't going to be given enough time, or that WWE still hadn't realised what makes Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy so great. Yep. And yet they gave them nearly 15 minutes and they put on an absolute clinic.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is always the worry, isn't it, when you see guys like this who are going to get a match, maybe they're going to be the ones whose match gets cut short. But actually, without this match, this could have been... Overall, would have probably been rated as a very different kind of pay-per-view. But I mean, two quality performers. You expect magic in the ring between these two, and honestly, I feel like they both delivered. Nobody came out of this one looking worse than the other.
Well, Aleister Black came out looking worse.
Fractionally.
But only because he definitely...
In real life,
not
in kayfabe, in real life, definitely came off looking worse.
It was a phenomenal match. Both of them just really highlighted that they are fantastic, and hopefully, the right people backstage will now see this. But Aleister Black's definitely broke his nose.
He's 100% got a broken nose, and it happened fairly early on as well. And I think we were saying that perhaps this could actually be a good thing for him. We know they like stuff like this. The boys in the back. They'll be seeing somebody like Aleister Black who's gone out there, continued the whole match with a broken nose, and carried on, and got the win. I think they'll go down very well in Vince McMahon.
They seem to suggest it was when he took a sort of bump off the steps, but we both think it was from the bump just prior to that. His head really snapped back as he was sort of chucked into the, not the turnbuckle, it's the
post.
The ring post. And it was pissing blood for the rest of the match.
It did not make for good viewing for him, but hey, he won the match with a always clinical black mass to put Buddy
out of nowhere as well.
Out of nowhere,
very sort of back and forth, and then he just,
He
took
whipped
his head off.
back and forth.
Indeed. Yeah, really, really good match from both of these. Right, next up we had the Viking Raiders. They're, of course, the Raw Tag Team Champions. They're always going to issue an open challenge. A lot of speculation. Some people saying it could be AOP getting involved. Some people saying after what we saw from the Street Profits on Monday Night Raw, maybe they were going to answer. But instead, it was the OC. It was Gallows and Anderson who brought out their trophy and said, yeah, we'll take you on. And
best tag team in the world, mate.
The most important thing here wasn't the championships. It wasn't even the trophy. It was the KFC table.
There it is. They are the words that you want. A TLC is KFC. The KFC table. A bunch of people just randomly eating chicken, testing out a few different condiments, having a good time while this match was going on. We waited and we waited and we waited to see what was going to happen. We knew they're not going to put a table and condiments and chicken out there unless they're going to be involved in the match somehow. But they weren't involved in the match, were they, Adam Wilbourn?
No, double count out ended up. Sort of brawl to the outside, and then you had that horrible moment of realisation when the referee's at 8 and no one's moving.
Nobody's moving. One person is over a barricade.
Yes.
You're fairly confident it's going to end in a double count out, and that's exactly what we got.
And then, post-match, big sort of brawl. It looked like the OC was going to put either Eric or Ivar, I can't remember the difference now, through the table. And then we put money on the moment they went to a double count out. Carl Anderson being the guy to go through the table. He was. The only downside slightly is the Viking Raiders started getting booed because they cleared the condiments off the table before they did it.
Wiped about 50% of the condiments away from the table. The chicken, of course, was saved because I like the fact that those people know, all the people who eat it were like, hey, this is a free bucket of chicken. There's no way you're taking this from me. Very good stuff.
But yes, I suppose that feud can continue now. You've got the OC who can claim that they've never lost to the Viking Raiders. And unfinished business for them. Seems like AOP is going to be held off in terms of a feud with the Viking Raiders for a little bit longer. Next up, King Corbin, Roman Reigns, TLC, although like a kind of weird TLC because there was nothing hanging above the ring, so it was pinfalls. And the takeaway here is Roman Reigns is the locker room leader, according to pretty much everyone, and is beloved by a lot of wrestling fans, but has no friends in WWE.
Zero friendos.
What was all this about?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. Let's be honest. The match itself was pretty okay, pretty good.
There was loads of just really random, wacky spots that I enjoyed.
Yeah, there was like weird stuff happening, but the match was going at a pretty decent flow up until a point. And then
hit him with a can of dog food, full can of dog food,
no half measures, and it was all kind of going. It wasn't a fantastic match, but it was a decent enough.
By the numbers TLC match, and it looked like, okay, right, Roman's probably going to spear King Corbin through a barricade now, and then Dolph Ziggler pops up.
Dolph Ziggler pops up with a super kick, and then they start beating up somebody in the timekeeper's area.
For ages.
I don't know who he is, and I have no idea who it is. They spent a lot of time beating this guy up, threatened to pour dog food on him. Roman Reigns got a drive-by, and then it all just got a bit mad, to be honest. We had more guys came from the back who came running down.
Yeah, who I think they'd been carrying out.
They were the ones who'd been carrying Corbin, so they were then getting beat up by Reigns. Although they looked like they were dressed the same as the guy who Corbin and Ziggler were beating up, who came from the timekeeper's area. Question mark? And then worse than that, as Roman starts to get the upper hand, I guess, by beating up what must have been at the part of at least 9 men at this point. The Revival then turn up, beat down Roman Reigns, get involved, and at this point you're thinking, Roman's in trouble, Like, he's been beaten up by the Revival, who he still ends up then eventually trying to get back out of the bit. Dolph Ziggler beats him up a little bit. Corbin, though, finally
chucks a chair right in his face.
Oh, it was Ziggler who took the chair, smashed him in the face. Kind of even the odds. And then all of a sudden, we're in a situation where 4 guys are just beating the crap out of Roman Reigns.
Who do you speculate?
You're speculating now. It could have been perhaps John Cena turned up and maybe, just maybe, save Roman Reigns. Would have got a big pop on the night, let's be honest. The Usos could have come back, maybe save Roman Reigns. Instead,
the New Day,
even the New Day.
Anyone? Chad Gable, he was apparently knocking back backstage.
Anyone. Vince McMahon himself could have come from the back. And yet, Nobody. Nobody. The answer is nobody. Nobody came to save one of the biggest baby faces in the company. Question mark?
Madness. He got hit with the Shatter Machine, Zigzag, and an End of Days, and the referee just sort of went off, sod it. 1, 2, 3.
I thought the ref was going to do a finish on him at one point.
And then that was it. We'll get back to it a little bit later on, I suppose, because that wasn't the end, apparently.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't enough, but let's put a pin in that one for now. Just remember, Roman Reigns has no friends, is the takeaway from this, apparently.
Yes. Bray Wyatt versus The Miz. This was weird, but a lot of weird fun.
I'm going to put my neck out here and say, I think you're in the same boat. We liked the weirdness. It's odd. It's not going to set the world alight by any stretch of the imagination, but this is the exact kind of weird I think I kind of want from Bray Wyatt, who isn't the Fiend. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. He came out to this full sort of Firefly Funhouse entrance with, you know, this amazing look on his face that he was just so happy just to be there and to be, especially be there as Universal Champion. He soaks in the crowd. He was climbing up on Michael Cole's announce table. He took a selfie, I think, with a fan at one point.
He came out in huge babyface mode, just like, hey, waving to everybody, standing on the turnbuckles, holding the belt, cheering yowie wowie with the fans.
Yeah.
He took a selfie with a fan at the front row, standing on Cole's announce desk. This is brilliant because Miz is furious, obviously, as his character would be, because he invaded his home and did all sorts of weird stuff with dolls and poor Mrs. Child, who got terrified for life, I imagine. But there's Bray standing in the corner like Mr. Babyface, and as Miz was trying to attack him, he was like, no, please, like,
wait a second, wait.
Let me explain. And while Miz beat the crap out of him for the first couple of minutes of this match.
Yeah, and then Bray sort of had a turn, fought back a little bit, but he was still, his offense wasn't quite there. He got hit with a skull-crushing finale, but Miz didn't want to take the pin. They wanted to beat the crap out of him even more. And eventually, after dodging a Miz attack that was trying to send him into the timekeeper's area, he hit Sister Abigail on the outside. Miz just made it back into the ring, and then Bray Wyatt went, well, I guess it's another Sister Abigail.
Sister Abigail for you.
Hit with a second Sister Abigail. 1, 2, 3. The match was over, but there was still a lot to come. We had The Fiend appearing on the screen, and Bray Wyatt sort of went, oh, okay, I'll do it.
Seemingly responding to The Fiend's presence on screen.
Went and got the mallet, which we'd obviously seen at Hell in a Cell, and despite the fact that Michael Cole was there calling that match, Michael Cole was like, what is this? I've never seen this before in my life.
I've never seen this before, or anything that I could possibly use to describe this before. And then follows that up with, is that a giant mallet? Yes, Michael,
yes.
It is. Yes, it is. The giant mallet you've already seen from previous matches, Mike.
But forget all that, because there was a bigger thing to come. Because Daniel Bryan made his return. The man who apparently doesn't age. He hit a running knee on Bray Wyatt. He hit a second running knee. He revealed that he is back to sort of American Dragon Daniel Bryan. And as I said, looks exactly the same as he did back in the day. Him and Sheamus have just gone back to their old characters, haven't they?
Big fan. And that's what we were saying. Imagine if we end up getting another match between those two. WrestleMania, where Bryan beats Sheamus in like 8 seconds or whatever it was. Listen, at the end of this, like, the match was weird, but weird sometimes is good. And I think it didn't need to be a world. Nobody was expecting a world-beating match yet, which is good. It developed the side of Bray's character, which I kind of like. It gives it an extra dimension, and also maybe puts a bit of cooling on The Fiend, which is, I think, was needed, because they've overexposed that a lot, and it needs to just kind of just become a bit more of a novelty again. Daniel Bryan coming back, new haircut, new style, really like deliberately wore the burgundy hoodie to give off that sort of sense that we're getting a look back, perhaps at American Dragon-esque Daniel Bryan. The end result here, huge babyface Daniel Bryan now, doing the yes chants at will. This is good. This is a good little end summary. And The Miz quietly disappeared out of all this as well, which is probably the best.
Bray Wyatt disappeared before Daniel Bryan could murder him with his own mallet. Next up, we had Bobby Lashley versus Rusev in a tables match. And Bobby Lashley's the better man.
Now that I think about this, isn't Bray Wyatt's new mallet in the new James Bond film?
Yes.
Is there Remy mallet?
Very good.
It's too late in the morning. Too late.
So let's talk about Rusev and Bobby Lashley, because I'm still in awe of the fact that both Rusev and Bobby Lashley crashed into a table and it didn't break. But most importantly, Bobby Lashley's the better man and won.
You did the math for the weight of those two.
I think over 550 pounds.
Over 550 pounds of man. And they ran at the table. It wasn't like they just gently bumped it or anything. They full tick ran into that table and it didn't break. And fair play to Bobby Lashley, who managed to use his smarts and instead of just trying to go back to the same table, went to a different table and put Rusev through it. And it was an immediate sort of response to that. This, apparently, being an arsehole pays off, is the message that I've had from this.
There you go, kids.
Don't be nice, be a dickhead, and a home wrecker, and also destroy all marriages that you see in your path. Sleeping with married women is fine, apparently, and it will result in you getting what you want.
Yeah, Lana got involved and just helped him out near the end, jumped on Rusev's back, raked his eyes, and gave Lashley the win, basically. Job done. Then we were backstage with the Street Profits, who immediately instructed Bobby Lashley to get a vasectomy. And
Brilliant,
then there was just this mass brawl of Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin, and I think Chad Gable was knocking about, and the OC.
All the people who probably could have come to save Roman Reigns decided, yeah, let's do that backstage.
Where were you 20 minutes ago? Ridiculous. Right, main event time. This, wow. The Kabuki Warriors, on paper, it was last year's main event, and it was something I've been campaigning for to get the main event again this year, because it's last year's main event with added Kairi Sane. And everything's better with added Kairi Sane, on paper at least. But yeah, this kind of just went all sorts of wrong. The Kabuki Warriors, of course, versus Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch for the women's tag team championships. It just felt like they were all on different pages.
This was not good. This wasn't good for anybody, and now we are being told potentially that Kairi Sane got an injury mid-match, which didn't help. But the real problem seemed to be throughout, across the board, I should point out. This isn't me just saying it was Kairi and Asuka. I also think there was a bit of it coming from Charlotte and Becky as well. Communication-wise, it was all going wrong. There was spots that just weren't landing. There was timing that was completely off. The pacing in general of the match was just not right for us. It was made to feel a lot worse because on our own stream, the whole stream had gone hot. So we were kind of half trying to fix that, half trying to watch this match. It didn't look good, and it wasn't making any of the four of them look good. And I could only imagine in the back, Vince McMahon not enjoying this one.
No, I mean there was a select few good spots. There was a bit with Charlotte and Becky effectively just ragdolling Kairi Sane between the announce tables. There was Kairi Sane getting her own back by climbing under the ring when she got pulled out, just spraying them with a fire extinguisher.
Although even that, so like there were funny bits or there were good bits, but they were taking too long to set up.
Yeah.
And by logic state,
just spot fest, wasn't it?
Charlotte and Becky were under the ring, dragging Kairi Sane out. They were literally looking at her as she went under, and they watched her. Like, so in theory, if you're an audience member, you watched them watch her pick up a fire extinguisher while she drags out. It's a big reveal for us.
Yeah.
We popped, it was funny, but they saw that. Like, they watched the whole thing, so didn't quite make sense. There was a lot of that going on. Bits with string attached to ladders for convoluted pulling the ladder away spots,
the rope,
which again would have worked had we not seen it. The setup was so obvious and so slow that Becky might as well have given Asuka this rope to pull it later on. It was
Becky Lynch being tied to a ladder and just taken out of the match for about 5 minutes.
And wriggling her legs like a weird kid.
And Charlotte's still sort of holding her own during that. But anyway, let's get to the finish. We had Charlotte Flair attempting a moonsault off the top rope whilst she had Asuka through a ladder. But in the end, Asuka climbed up and sort of powerbombed her through it. They shot it weird. We missed that.
Yeah, the cameraman managed to miss the powerbomb through the table on the outside.
Yeah, sorry, not through a ladder,
which was a nasty bump, but fair play to Charlotte for taking it. As we know, she's one of the best, undoubtedly.
Kairi saying, that this was the point where we kind of realised because she just wasn't involved at all by that point. It ended up being, Asuka and Becky Lynch. And as you mentioned there, Becky Lynch seemed to take Asuka out of it and start climbing the ladder to grab those tag belts. But then Asuka grabbed the rope that had been tied around the ladder earlier when Becky Lynch had been tied to the ladder. yanked the ladder over. Becky Lynch bumped like crazy, and Asuka came in, climbed to the top of the ladder and grabbed the belts and was given a whole 2 seconds of a shot to celebrate retaining those tag titles before we inexplicably cut to just another mass brawl spilling out into the arena, and the show went off the air as Roman speared Baron Corbin into the entire roster off a platform, basically.
Who couldn't be asked to come out and save him earlier in the night. To say this went steeply off a cliff would be, I think, a bit of an understatement. I mean, in terms of a pay-per-view overall, you're probably not going to say this is one of the worst pay-per-views ever, but you're also not going to be sat there trying to recommend it to your friends, I don't think.
No, when in a year where we've had Hell in a Cell, this isn't even the worst WWE pay-per-view this year. Indeed. And if you'd stop watching after Black Murphy, you've had a relatively decent Humberto Carrillo Andrade match.
We've had 3 matches.
Yeah.
It's been a delight.
And then it just sort of went downhill. But that's what you get with me and you doing a live stream.
Listen, if anybody who's been following our live streams that we do together, you should know that this was always going to be a bad pay-per-view, or certainly not a super memorable one. That's fair.
Yes.
Bad pay-per-view is probably a little bit harsh. It's a WWE pay-per-view, and a B1 at that these days. So
Yes.
it tends not to be a riot, to say the least. But you can see why Brock Lesnar doesn't turn up. Put it that way.
Good to have American Dragon Daniel Bryan back. That's the main takeaway here, I suppose.
Indeed.
But let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. You can follow us on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Well, actually, there, follow both of us. You can follow him at...
It's Adam Nicholas. You can follow this lovely man.
The man who is the What Culture champion of the decade. Strike some comments. At Adam Wilbourn, follow us all, as I said, at WhatCulture WWE. This has been What Went Down at TLC. Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining us for all of our streams, not just throughout this year, but throughout this decade. And here's to plenty more next year. My thanks to Adam Nicholas. Thank you for watching. We will see you soon.
Guess we'll just do this again on a podcast now, eh?
Yeah.
Lovely.